Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm Paul Jasson, your host. Thank you for joining us. We are again on this bright and sunny day in downtown Lancaster in the lobby of Fairfield Federal, right on the corner where so many things happen throughout the year. And today, fortunately, it's us inside. It's a cool day out there, so we're glad to be inside. Thanks for joining us. Start off the show with, I always enjoy having these folks on to talk about this. Their program began 6.5 years ago. I think they, at least in my mind, they answered a need that I didn't even know a problem existed, and that is diapers for young and expecting mothers and problems getting diapers and all the things associated with, not the least of which is the cost. It's a pleasure to have Tim Welsh on with us, CEO of Bottoms Up Diapers. Tim, welcome.
Big title for
it is.
A little
well,
man.
you're a big dog in the world of diapers. I can tell you that.
You know,
6.5 years.
Yeah. It's been a ride. We started it just because we knew there was an issue. You know?
Well, I guess that's where I kind of wanted to start. Now, I've had your wife on, Joe, who along with you run the company, and we've talked about this before, but she's always credited you with the real germ, the idea to get this going. So the idea was to what? Provide diapers to folks that, was it a money issue that got it going?
Yeah, it's we provide diapers. The concept was that we would provide diapers for mothers living below the poverty line. Single mothers are the most likely demographic group to live in poverty. They're the most likely demographic group to be homeless. Mothers with a single mother is really swimming upstream. So, it was interesting. When you see a problem like that, it's recognizable, and it's also solvable. The only question we had was, does anybody care? You know, I mean, are we gonna be able to make an impact? And
I think you got your answer.
Well, we did, and we went from 6.5 years ago. I was delivering diapers to one food bank out of the back of a Prius, and now we operate 5 different vehicles. We have 85 partners that we deliver to in 25 counties in the state of Ohio. We cover about a third of the geography of the state of Ohio, and it's been amazing. We work hard at it, but we've never really had any kind of issues. We did see that people cared enough. And it's an issue that people, to your point, they never even think about, And I was in the green room earlier,
Sure.
By the way, I thought I was going to get red M&Ms. Whatever happened to that?
Well, we cut them out. It was an expense,
and budget thing.
You can't always help everybody.
It was just a budget thing. That's all.
Next time you're here,
dollars and cents.
We'll
I'll buy my own.
Joe never complained, but continue.
well, she doesn't complain about that. So at any rate, the biggest challenge that I think we have is that people don't believe, and not only just with us, but just kind of culturally in the United States. I don't think people believe the real plight of the poor. I mean, you just have to suspend disbelief. I mean, when I tell people that there's a woman, and by the way, there's a woman within a mile's radius of where we are seated right now who is scraping out a diaper and putting it back on a kid because she can't afford any more diapers for the day. And people don't believe that. That's kind of unbelievable. So you just kind of have to suspend disbelief, and that's our biggest challenge. I mean, just to kind of allow people the real understanding of the plight of the poor, because it's dramatic.
So I guess that would be, your goal certainly is to make people aware that even this problem exists, which, to your point, you think many people who perhaps are not in that position don't either know or don't believe that it does exist in this day, and then to get that word out, to get your partners, people that can help with this program, either financially or with the product or however they do it, to get involved.
Yeah, and you said it best. You didn't even know the problem existed. When you first met Joe at a Kiwanis meeting or something, you had no idea, and you hadn't even thought about it.
And I'd probably seen everything you'd seen on TV about it. It just, nothing clicked with me because I wasn't in that world.
When they talk about the poor, they talk about rent and housing and food and clothing and medical expenses. They before we came along, people didn't even talk about diapers, for gosh sakes. I mean, but there's an awful lot of moving parts to that. I mean, you can't get any kind of government aid for diapers. You can get government aid for formula and for other stuff for kids, but you can't get government aid for diapers. And someone has to just step up and figure out a way to give them away.
So when you started this, you and your wife, the first two folks doing this, the only two folks doing this, 6.5 years ago, I'm with Tim Welsh from Bottoms Up Diapers, and talking about how the genesis of this came about and where we are now 6.5 years later. So we begin it with you and Joe. You see the problem. You're going to go out there and you're going to work on this. 6.5 years later, what's the size of your company in terms of what you deliver and how many folks you have?
Well, in 2024, I think we delivered. We're still trying to close the books, believe it or not, but counting diapers is a real mess.
I can imagine. Yeah.
So I think we delivered about 1.2 million diapers in 2024. We are delivering to now 85 community partners, which are food banks and child care facilities and domestic abuse shelters, wherever we can intersect with the woman living below the poverty line, the single mom. There's some single dads out there that we help out too, but single moms are far and away the biggest. So we're now in a lot of counties. We operate 5 vehicles driven primarily with volunteers. We've got 6 different warehouses pecked around that geography, and I think we're gonna get to this year. I think we'll probably distribute. It's gonna be real close to 2 million. I think that's where we're headed. I think.
6.5 years ago, your dream is to work on and perhaps even solve this problem. Although I'm sure you knew how big it was, but even when you thought about where this could lead, is this just beyond anything you thought?
Yes and no. I mean, it grew more quickly than I thought it was going to grow. But we built the organization to withstand this kind of growth, and it has withstood the growth. We've never missed a delivery. We've never run out of diapers. It's been phenomenal. We did do the due diligence. We built it like it should have been built. We used an outside accounting firm. We used QuickBooks. We used Salesforce for our customer relationship management tool. We have all kinds of good stuff that we do. We're very careful with how we spend our money and all of that. But at the same time, the trajectory of this thing is like a hockey stick. I mean, it just started like that, and then it just took off.
The angle goes
my
straight
gosh.
up.
It's been incredible.
How quick was that after you started this? Did you see that it really started to take off?
Well, I think, we've never actually gone out to a food pantry or one of our partners and said, hey, we'd like to give you diapers. Every single one of them has come to us. The very first one I did, it was St. Stephen's Community House in South Linden up in Columbus. I did talk with her, and I said, Kristen, I want to give you free diapers. And she said, we can't do that. And I said, well...
She had not done it at all.
Right. And I said, Kristen, I want to give you free diapers. And she said, well, I'm going to have to check with my board to see if, And I said, Kristen, I want to give you free diapers. And in sales, you see a light go off on somebody's head, and this light shine like the sun. And she goes, you mean no strings attached, no, we don't have to report to you anything, nothing like that. I said, no, I'm just going to drop them off. You tell me what you need, and I'm going to drop them off. You see, food pantries, generally speaking, they get the donations as well, and they give, prior to us coming on board, they gave people the diapers that they had. Like if the kid needed a size 4 diaper and all they had was size 3s, they gave them size 3s. I mean, that's all they had.
Sure.
Now they're able to give them what they need, which is a big deal. And Kristen, that woman from St. Stephen's, I asked her, I said, how many, you know, little known fact, you're supposed to turn away the mother if she comes to a daycare facility and doesn't have enough diapers for that day, in a government-funded daycare center. You're supposed to turn them away, which means she's going to lose maybe a day's worth of pay. She may even lose her job because she may have had the flu last week and she's missed 6 days out of the last 10 or something. And I said to her, how many people do you turn away? And she said, we turn away at least one a week. Mm-hmm. And I said, Kristen, I will promise you, you will never turn another woman away. And 3 years later, she happened to speak at one of our banquets. And 3 years later, I said, Kristen, I got a question for you. On stage, she was there. And I said, have you turned anybody away since we started? She said, no, not a single one. And that's how we measure success. And it brings tears to my eyes even telling you.
So we're coming up on this now. We've got a few minutes left. We wanted to kind of bring it back to now.
Yeah.
The big deal with you folks every year, and we talk about it with your wife generally on the show, Joe, about the big diaper drive. That's coming up, and you've got a big deal going on.
World's Largest Diaper Drive, which was something I dreamt up, and people thought I had 6 heads. I told them we were going to collect 250,000 diapers in one day, and they didn't think we could do it. Well, this is our 5th annual, and we'll probably collect 1.3 or 1.4 million diapers in the month of May. And we're kicking it off with banquets all around in Chillicothe and Columbus and Lancaster. And in Lancaster, it's March 6th.
Okay.
And it's at Cheers Chalet. So it's
Path Road, nice facility.
Real nice time, good food, and a great speaker. We've got a guy named David Mahan coming down from Columbus to speak, and he's fabulous. So I would encourage
Can people get to that, attend that? You want that?
Yes, I do. We're just go to bottomsup.life.
Bottomsup.life.
Okay. L-I-F-E. That's a website they can go to, and they scroll down just a little bit, and it says register for the banquets.
Do it online?
Yep.
Great. It's just a great story.
Yeah.
I love talking to you and Joe about this. You just love to see a program begin and take off like this. That is obviously, as you've told us, such a need.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty cool.
Well, and you've got one of the larger diaper banks in the country right here in Lancaster, Ohio, and nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
You know, so, well, I mean, not nobody, but it's...
and we got to go, but just a question. Are there lots of other places like you out there?
There's about 250 that belong to the National Diaper Bank Network.
Around?
All over the country.
250.
We are one of 3 diaper banks of this size in the state of Ohio.
Well, I mean, we're just fortunate to have you here. Thanks for coming up with this idea, the work that you, your wife, your team all do. Bottoms Up Diapers, Tim and Joe Welsh are the ones that take care of this. Thanks for everything. It's an amazing story, and we hope you can get some people there at your banquet. What's the date again on that?
March 6th.
Okay.
Cheers Chalet. And
what time?
It's 7 o'clock, I think.
7-ish. It's online. You can find it online. And the online.
It's bottomsup.life.
Bottomsup.life. Tim, thank you, buddy.
All right, man.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
We'll be back in just a moment.
If you've been thinking about getting a home loan, now is the time. Hi, this is Carrie James from Fairfield Federal. Our experienced lenders are here to help you make your vision a reality. For more than 125 years, we've been helping our community achieve home ownership. Fairfield Federal has convenient online application for your home loan, home equity loan, and home equity line of credit needs. Visit fairfieldfederal.com to get started. Fairfield Federal for checking, savings, and home loans. Data charges may apply, subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 402612.
The reason why I do what I do is I love helping people, and I really love to work on understanding and striving to improve the lives of the people in our community. Being in Fairfield County is having a network of people around you.
I am driven by my belief that every individual deserves an opportunity to achieve mental and emotional balance, and I'm very passionate about contributing to that process.
Community, connections, collaboration. The Fairfield County Way.
What makes Fairhope what it is our staff. It's always a question that we ask, why do you want to be here with us? And what they most always say is, you've touched my life this way. You know, you took care of this person, or I've seen what you've done and I want to do that. And so the staff that have been here know what it takes. They've been on the other side. They see what it takes to make someone comfortable, to make the family comfortable, and really what kind of support they need. And so I think that's what really makes Fairhope what it is.
Fairfield Medical Center is more than a hospital. We're a health system that's been putting people first for more than a century. From the youngest patients to the eldest, our compassionate team of caregivers are here to support you through every season of life. We are healers, cheerleaders, patient advocates, and champions. Your health is our greatest accomplishment, and we are proud to serve you. Whatever you're searching for, you can find it at Fairfield Medical Center.
At Fairfield DD, there are a lot of things to be excited about in 2025. We've launched a new website that has a ton of great information for the community. We also have implemented a brand new strategic plan where we lay out steps that we'll take in the next few years to move our mission forward. As always, community partnerships and collaboration help us succeed, as together we move as one. March is right around the corner, and with it comes Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. Fairfield DD is excited to participate in a wide range of events that raise awareness and build a community that values every person. Find out more at fairfielddd.com.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Welcome back to Fairfield Today. Certainly want to thank Tim Welsh for being on and give us that great update on bottoms-up diapers, all the information. He gave you where you can find it online, and it's just a great organization. There's a big banquet coming up here in a couple months, so we're in a month or so, I guess. We're looking forward to that. So we hope you will get involved and read up on that. It's a great cause. We'll have a little change from that. We'll go from the nonprofit world to the government world. Pleasure to have on with us again the Mayor of Lancaster, Don McDaniel. Mayor, welcome.
Good morning, Paul, and thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. I heard you talking to Tim as you were crossing paths. You're going to be at their big banquet coming up?
Yes, yeah, a great cause. Happy to support it.
It is. It's good. Well, we appreciate your being on with us today. I thought we'd start out by since this is early in 2025, maybe looking back a little bit at 2024, and we'll talk more. I know you have the State of the City coming up here shortly. It'll be this week, Thursday, I guess. But just in generalities, without giving anything away, we want to have your big moment with the State of the City. That's always a wonderful event. When you look back at 2024, your first year as mayor, was your first full year?
Yes,
first full year as mayor. What you thought, different, bigger, more complex?
It's a very busy job.
Yeah.
I call it busy but fun. There's a lot of good things happening in the city, a lot of things we should be proud of, and we'll talk about some of the State of the City on Thursday, but a lot of development, a lot of activity, a lot of investment, a lot of things happening on that front, as well as on the government side, trying to make things more efficient. And
that's one thing we can talk about too. I think one of the things you're doing, and it's in the progress of putting that all together now, is this merging of many different, maybe 4 or 5 different agencies to do with building and zoning and planning and development, things like that, all falling into one overall agency. Does that have a name?
Yeah, it's our Community Development Department.
Community Development Department, and it's all going to be across the street in your world?
In the main City Hall building on the first floor.
Yeah, and so this was something that your people came up with as a way of just making it better for the public?
Yeah, one of the things I was hearing as I was running for election, quite a few people approached me about difficulty in getting projects moved forward, from just not understanding the process to maybe going into one office and getting information that was valid and helpful, but not realizing they needed information from another department, such as zoning or planning. So we looked at that process and thought, there's got to be a better way. For instance, we had those departments spread across 2 buildings. So if you went into one building and got help, they would often try to give you advice on other things you could do, but sometimes things were left out because it wasn't their wheelhouse, it wasn't their area of expertise. So we looked at bringing all those departments into one office space with one leader that would oversee the entire operation. So when you walked into that office, you got the answers you needed to move your project forward. So we combined the building department, the planning department, zoning department, community development department, which involves housing and neighborhoods. So the old community development block grant program, all those things are housed at one location with one leader and one effort to get that information out to the community and help people.
So rather than at its worst being shuffled between buildings and then maybe even having to come back to the original building to get things completed, now it just may be next door or down the hall?
Yeah, those stories are pretty common about getting something you thought you had, everything you needed, and finding out later that you needed some additional steps to get through the government process. We really want a one-stop shop approach to serving the public. So yes, this is very helpful, and we've gotten a lot of positive feedback. We continue to work on that, and there's things we still need to improve, but we're doing some good work.
Now, how long ago did that merger actually come about?
They moved in late fall, so
okay.
They've been.
It's a few months.
Yes, it's kind of new, and people are still adapting to it.
The people that before perhaps were saying how inefficient it was, waste of time, typical government, blah, blah, blah.
Correct.
Are you hearing now from people saying it's a better way?
Yes, we've had several people tell us that they walked in and got everything they needed and were able to work through the process much more efficiently. You have a Board of Zoning Appeals, you have a Planning Commission, you have City Council. All those are obstacles that you have to get through for various processes of developing your project. The City Planner's Office, the Community Development Office, can tell you about all those things right up front, so you know which one you have to navigate through and how you might have to get through that. What you might need to go to Planning Commission and plead your case, or the Board of Zoning Appeals to plead your case. So yes, we're getting positive feedback.
So we're going to have Stephanie Bosco on next week to talk about a lot of this economic. Is she part of this?
Yeah, she's
meeting there?
Absolutely. She's
now,
been
does she
involved.
do a decent job? I'm saying that because I know she can hear me right now. So I just don't be scared.
She's a one-person office that's doing an outstanding job for the city.
Got a lot going on there.
At the State of the City, we're going to talk about a lot of things happening, and she has her hands in all of that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. So often you don't hear good things about government, things that work out well. It's easy to have things out there when they don't go well. That's certainly easy headlines to put that out there. So good for you and good for your folks that you came up with a plan, you worked it, you developed it, and it looks like it's successful.
Yes, the final jury's still out, but I think the feedback so far has been positive enough to know that we've done something that will benefit the community.
Now, I can even remember under your predecessor, Dave Scheffler, that he talked about that. What a big, and I don't think I realized it was that kind of problem, a big need for more housing.
Yeah.
And I guess that's being worked on.
Yes, the feedback we were getting from all of the apartment complexes in Lancaster are pretty much waiting list type situation. So if you're trying to get into either market rate housing or you're trying to get help with housing, there's nothing. as far as housing stock. Oh, there's a few odds and ends here and there, but nothing that we need to really service the community and make sure people can get what they want when they want it in a location that actually suits them. So yes, you're going to see a couple thousand housing units in the next year and a half.
Seemed like a lot.
Yeah, we need single-family homes. We need single-family homes for first-time home buyers. There's nothing in the market for that.
Sure.
You're going to see some of that coming our way. We need affordable housing for people who need help. You're going to see that coming our way. And then there's certainly a market rate need also. People that want that really nice apartment, and they can afford to pay for it, and it's maybe they're commuting to and from Columbus.
Now, this affordable kind of housing, is that something, I assume it's not something that just fell into our lap. There are people in the community that have assessed that as a need and gone out and tried to acquire that interest in Lancaster.
Absolutely. I think Mayor Scheffler was one of those people, as well as our Economic Development Director and our current Economic Development Director, Stephanie, as well as others. There's some connections that Mayor Scheffler had that he reached out to and invited them to come to Lancaster and take a look at what we might need. We've done a housing study, which I think actually we're at the tail end of that study, but we know we need housing. And we know we need people need help with housing. So we need that affordability element. And some of the creativity that's going into obtaining developers has a market rate approach combined with an affordable housing approach financed by the developers. So it's when you rent an apartment, you might be getting an affordable rent, but you're getting the same apartment that the market rate is paying. So you're getting a luxury apartment at an affordable cost, financed by the developer with some of the government initiatives that we have in place.
Is it called the Shoemaker Building?
The Shoemaker Building, yes.
What's down here on the corner of, what is that, Mulberry and Columbus?
Yes, the old Essex Wire Building.
Yeah, that's what I kind of remember it as. And then it's been empty as long as I can remember it being in office. It's been empty, and now all of a sudden there's lots of buzz.
Yeah, actually Stephanie and I toured that building last week. A lot of progress so far, but you can just see the vision. Residences, apartments on the second and third floor, commercial space, restaurant space on the first floor. What a great thing for downtown Lancaster. I can see the vision. If you walk through with the owner, you can see his passion. A great addition to Lancaster.
And that's sort of what you see in maybe bigger cities than Lancaster when they build these, in some cases, condos and more expensive units, is that it's kind of multi-use thing. Maybe like Brad did down there with the Midoff building, where on the first floor you have businesses and different kind of things, offices or maybe restaurants or whatever it is, and then the upper floors are more living space. That seems to be a real thing, and we've got another one going up now.
Yes, this company, Urban Restorations, who's doing the Shoemaker Building, has done completed projects in Columbus. They've completed projects in Newark and Heath and Granville, and they restore buildings to their, prime. They make an effort to absolutely make that building go back to its glory days.
Well, they've got their hands full in this one.
They certainly do.
I can imagine what that looked like if the outside, empty as it was, sat that long. I'm sure there were maybe an issue or two inside.
They had a failing roof. They had a lot of areas that were, because of that failing roof, that were damaged, and all that has been replaced. So everything's under roof, flooring's been replaced. They're ready to start the major infrastructure inside, so it's a pretty exciting project.
Well, that's going to be a great addition to the downtown.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's going to be exciting. Yeah, we've only got a minute or so left, but I wanted to give you a plug. I wanted to thank you. I don't brag about this often, knowing Marines. That's not something I really care to. I'm kidding. As an Army guy myself, I appreciate having a Marine, and Dave Scheffler was the same thing, an Army guy. In here. It's good to have somebody in the office that does that. I want to thank you for your availability on Memorial Day and on Veterans Day, always being there and reading a nice proclamation for that. I know you see the value in having those events.
Absolutely, a pleasure to be there, and we have to support our veterans.
Even as a Marine, you do that.
We do.
Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.
To our Marine Mayor, Don McDaniel. Thank you, sir, for being with us. We'll get you back on here, and as we go through the year, we'll talk about what we hope will just be a another great year for Lancaster, and with the leadership of you and your folks over there, we know it will be.
Well, thank you. I'm looking for a lot of good things.
Sure. Don McDaniel, the mayor of Lancaster, thanks for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.